let's begin by titling your page Notes ... Atoms and Elements. In your notebook, there should be a red line that goes on the left side as well as the right side, and a blue line under the title. We're also going to add the page number, which should be page 26 over here. Okay, let's begin. First, we need to define some vocabulary words. To show that it's a vocabulary word, beside the red line, we're going to put a V for vocabulary. So the first word is matter. We're going to underline the vocabulary word. Is anything that takes up space and have mass. So think back to when we measured the mass of the markers with the scale, and we measure space using the graduated cylinder. But space is just like if something takes up space in a room, then it is, and also has mass, and that means it is matter, no matter what it is. All right, the second word, we're going to skip a line on your paper, is a particle. We're also going to underline this. Is a very small piece or part of something. So a particle of strawberry could be a super tiny piece of strawberry, or a particle of dirt is a very tiny piece of dirt, for example. All right, and finally, what we're learning about is the vocabulary word an atom. So remember to skip a line once again between each vocabulary word. I'm going to underline it too. Is the smallest object that is still an element. So you might not know what the word element means just yet, but we will get to that. All right. Okay, so before we define what element means, let's draw pictures of some atoms. So for example, I'm going to draw a circle. Let's say this is a hydrogen atom. So of course, hydrogen atom isn't literally a circle, but we're drawing it just to kind of show that a very simplified version of what an atom is. And we're going to draw a different kind of atom. Let's do a square for this one. Once again, it's not literally a square, but we're just drawing it just so that we can actually see it easily. Let's call this an oxygen atom. So clearly, they're not the same thing. One's a circle, and one's a square. So they're different. Different atoms, different kinds of atoms look differently, and they behave differently as well. Okay, let's define the word element. I'm going to draw my red line, which should already be on your paper. So an element, so skip a line under the drawing, is a kind of atom that all have the same atomic number. Okay, so an element is a kind of atom that all have the same atomic number. Before we get to the atomic number part, let's just draw examples of elements. So the very first element on the periodic table is a hydrogen element. And if we were to draw that what hydrogen elements are made of, it'll be hydrogen atoms. And if we drew it, it'll be the circles that we saw. It'll all look like this. And if we drew the oxygen element, it will be made out of oxygen atoms, which we say are squares, so they will all look like this. Now let's define what the atomic number is. So let's draw a block inside of the periodic table. The periodic table is the page you all should have on page 18 as well. So I'm going to draw a square. Don't make it too big, but don't make it too small. So inside the square of the periodic table, you usually have something that's like 1 or 2 letters long. And then you have a number somewhere in there, and you have the name. So this will be hydrogen. So what are these things inside? Well, the easiest one is the hydrogen is the name of the element. This H is the atomic symbol. And the word atomic seems really, cool and stuff, but it just means atom. And finally, this 1 is the atomic number. So remember, we said that the elements all have the same atomic number. That means this hydrogen element, this hydrogen atom, has an atomic number of 1. So does this one, so does this one, and this one. Now can you find what the atomic number is of these atoms, of the oxygen element? If you can find the element on the periodic table, then you should be able to see that the atomic number as well. Okay, and finally we're going to define the word molecules and to add 2 simple facts, 2 facts about the periodic table. But first I'm gonna draw my red line some more. Okay, so the first fact, we're going to skip a line under the picture we just drew, is that every element, whoops, this is in red, oh well. So every element is on the periodic table. So every single element you can think of will be on the periodic table on page 18 of your notebook. So if you want to know what element something is made out of, you could find that element on your periodic table, which combined together, it makes up everything that we know of. Skip a line, and the next fact, let me change the color, is each element is made of different atoms. So because each element has a different atomic number, that means each of them are different from each other. So oxygen elements are all different with hydrogen elements, and every other element on the periodic table all have different atoms. Alright, and lastly, we just need to define one more word, which is the word molecule. If you don't have space on the bottom of your page, let's just write this on the left side of your notebook on page 25. But if you do have space, let's squeeze this in here on the bottom. So last word, a molecule. Should underline it. Is when more than one atom combines together. So more than one atom combined together. What does that mean? So how about I draw just a circle for the hydrogen atom? Is this a molecule? No, not a molecule, because it is just the atom by itself. What if I drew a hydrogen element combined with another hydrogen element. This would be a molecule, so I'll put a check mark. What if I had a hydrogen element combined with an oxygen, a different kind of element? So this is more than one atom still, even though they're different. So this will also be a molecule. Or what if I did more than two? So hydrogen combined with an oxygen and another hydrogen. This will, of course, be a molecule as well. Or what if I had just a oxygen element by itself, an oxygen atom by itself? Then this would not be a molecule because it is just one. Okay, so this is the end of the notes. Please, I will encourage you to watch this back again after writing it for the first time. All right, thank you.